crazy
And
rain.
so that's kind of been it, you know, that's kind of puts a hamper on the mood and whatever, but I got a lot of stuff done around the house, so that was good. I'm getting more mobile every day, and that makes me happy. And you know, I'm feeling, compared to, you know, what, 2 months ago when I started this, it's like I feel night and day different. Just the whole, you know, sleeping thing, you know, I'm ready to get up and get out of bed after 8 hours, where before it's like I could have slept 9, 10 hours and I, you know, I never felt rested. I had to pull, I mean, it was a force to get myself up and moving. And I mean, once I did, I was fine. But now it's like I'm waking up without an alarm and just ready to go.
Wonderful.
And there's a lot to be said for that.
There is a lot.
I mean, little things like that you just take for granted, you know.
And you think that that's how it just is.
Right.
Yeah.
And you live with it for so long that you feel that is, you know, that you're destined for that to be the rest of, you know, to be going on the rest of your life. And
exactly,
you kind of, in the back of your head, you have this like feeling of dread. But yeah, no, I mean, I can definitely tell a difference. And, you know, I feel like once I finish this 23-day elimination, like full elimination, that it's going to make things a lot easier to recognize too, when I start reintroducing foods into what just doesn't work and what works and what doesn't work. I think the one thing that I'm a little, I really thought that getting rid of the gluten, and dairy and stuff would like help with my bloating, but I'm not really seeing that yet. And maybe it's just a, you know, process of time, but,
okay, let's talk about that a little bit, because I would expect that would dissipate as well. So tell me about your bloating. So does it come like right after meals? What do you like when you wake up? Is it worse in the evening?
It definitely, it increases throughout the course of the day. It's definitely worse after meals. In fact, like after I eat, sometimes like my stomach gets so hard, like when I was pregnant, like that feeling, like you can push on it and it feels like a rock or something is in there, versus, you know, the softness that you would anticipate it should be from
belching or passing gas?
A lot of gas.
A lot of gas?
Yeah, and that's something that's different, because for me, that's probably something that has changed over the last, just if I had a couple years, and probably more recently the last 2 years, was I used to be, I kind of feel like people fall into two groups. Either you're like a gassy, you know, 2D person, or you are a burper. And I was always a person who belched, like, and it wasn't just with food, it was with drinking stuff too. And but now the last couple years, it's definitely been more of the flatulence and not good. Like there's
sulfur?
no
Does it have
there's
a
no
sulfur
sneaky
scent?
Do what?
Does it have a sulfur scent?
No, just foul. I don't know what.
Okay, well, this is all good. So, super. Well, first of all, it's great information. So, I'm happy that it's not here anymore and that it is coming down. So that means, you know, so when you have the belching and things like that, that's usually an upper issue where not getting enough you don't have enough stomach acid, not getting enough bile excretion. The pancreas isn't secreting that elastase to help break down food. So it's fermenting and it comes up in the form of belching.
Okay.
So, so we had you on the Biocidin, and now we've transitioned you to the GI Microbe X, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I noticed when I started taking the Biocidin that the gassy part that I was experiencing was definitely more frequent, and definitely the odor had gotten not, worse. And even with the switch to the GI, I can never remember that name, Micro X or whatever. Even the switch to that, it took about a week maybe of transition, and it's very similar to the Biocide. And so that kind of makes me feel like it's doing something in my gut.
Mm-hmm. And you're having normal bowel movements? What are your bowel movements like?
They kind of are sporadic. They're coming and going. I might have a couple, a day or two of a more normal situation, and then I'll have like a day where it's not, where it's definitely more looser. And I feel like it does depend on what I eat. And I think it's going to be more, and I have not been good about the journaling as of late.
Mm-hmm.
I need to definitely do a better job of that, because I do feel like it's definitely affected by what I eat. Because, just because of how it changes, and my foods, I'm not like one of those creatures of habit. I don't eat basically the same stuff every day. I like to change it up a lot. So maybe that's something I need to do, just to see if I can get consistency or something. I don't know.
What we may do is we may throw a little bit of FODMAP in there to see if that helps with the gas part.
What is that?
So it's I don't want to take more away. You're at the point where you're going to be reintroducing, correct?
In about 10 days.
10 days.
10 or 14. I've got to look at my calendar.
10 to 14 days. All right. So I'll upload FODMAPs. I don't want you to be super strict about it, but I want you to be mindful of when you are eating them to see if that's a contributor to increased gas or bloating.
Okay. Is it like just a listing of food that, okay.
Yeah. Okay. What you can eat versus what you can't eat. So I'll upload that into your document folder. And then that way, and do start kind of keeping a journal about your foods and gas. So that way what your labs looked like and that organic acids. It was a bad dysbiosis, so you had a lot going on with your gut. I would expect that it's going to take some tweaking. And it impacted almost all of your various biological pathways.
Right.
So anyhow, clearly you're doing great, right? So this is just the little.
I definitely feel better.
Yeah. So this is just a little.
We still have work to do in that area.
Yeah, we still have work to do, and because when you have such a serious underlying dysbiosis, and I'm quite certain that you have probably full-blown celiac disease. And so therefore you haven't been getting appropriate digestion and absorption of a lot maybe ever.
Well, and and I kind of felt like that because legitimately, as fast as things ran through my system, because
which is
I don't really feel like
of celiac.
There's any TMI, but you could see it, and I felt like there's no way my body could pull the nutrition and the vitamins and the minerals and stuff that I needed out of it that fast.
Exactly. You just nailed it. And that's the classic signs of celiac. And because of your genetics, we're so strong for it. I really do think that that's a significant, you had a serious dysbiosis. It's going to take some time to get it right,
Can you have celiacs but still have like an allergy test through an allergist that says that you're not allergic to wheat?
It's not. So celiac is not an allergy. It's not an IgE allergy. What it is it will, because it's a sensitivity. But it, when you eat gluten, it's an autoimmune attack on the microvilli. It's not like an IgE is what they would test for, or IgG would be like a delayed sensitivity. But yeah, this is more of like an autoimmune attack on the microvilli in the small intestines. So you decrease all surface area. Those microvilli are little projections. So when you have food that comes through, it has to go through each of these, and they have like hair-like, pinnacles that help to flow that food through, allowing for increased time for absorption and digestion. And what happens with celiac is that the immune system actually begins to attack the microvilli, and it destroys them.
So they can grow back?
They can grow back, or all of our body can heal. It's just that's a slower process, right? So, and especially if it's been that way for a really long time. So that is
probably going on 20 years. It would have been.
Yeah. So that's the part of it. It's like, well, you don't have the surface area there to slow the food down to get that absorption.
Gotcha. That's why it's just
comes right through sometimes.
Yep.
So let's just start being mindful. I'll upload FODMAPs into your documents folder. You just start to review it. I'm not saying FODMAP is hard, it's awful. I'm not saying eliminate it. I'm saying make connections. And
about what I'm eating and the symptoms I'm presenting of foods that's on that list.
Because we may need to pull certain ones out, and then it just allows your body to minimize the amount of fermentation that will occur. So it's taking foods out that are highly fermented in the GI tract. All right.
Yep. What about kombucha? So like I do like sauerkraut and kombucha and stuff.
I do too. Those are ones.
Those away.
Yeah, I would pull that out just for a minute.
Okay.
Because that is going to create some kind of fire and heat. So let's just pull that out for a minute.
Yep.
And make sure that that we're just helping to promote healing of that gut liner.
Okay. Yep, got it.
All right, now I've got you bold. I will upload that shortly.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good rest of your week.
You too.
All right, who's up next? Hi, Miss Katrin. How are you?
Good. I'm saying good, but I'm not good.
What's wrong?
I don't know. It's always something with me.
Well, I don't think that's true.
Well, I texted you on chat that had a really bad heartburn past few days, and so I've been taking.
Had a really bad. I'm so sorry. Really bad what?
Heartburn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I've been taking Gastracid for like almost like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because I just don't feel like I digest my food, and I eat so little. I lost so much weight that I don't like it. I'm like 120 pounds. That I was in that size when I got married, like young age, So, but still, yeah. Now it's a little better with the heartburn, and I feel like when I eat like soups like light food, I feel better and no heartburn. Yeah. So
All
I'm
right.
watching.
How many
don't-
of the gastracids are you taking? Just
I'm
one?
taking like 3 a day, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Bump that to 2.
2, okay.
So bump it to 2 3 times a day.
Oh, okay.
Let's just make sure that you've got enough stomach acid, those digestive enzymes and stomach acid to help you digest and absorb. If you get burning, like right after you take it, if you experience burning, then back it back down and stay at your 1. But let's bump to 2 and see if we can get you past this.
Okay. All right. And I did feel with that when I started to have heartburn, I started to be so bad fatigue. Like I didn't want to even move like that bad. I was so bad that I was crying like, why, why I feel this way. It was so bad fatigueness. Until yesterday evening, I started to feel a little better.
And
it
you
comes,
don't,
I think, with the pain.
with the pain? Where are you in your cycle?
With my what? Cycle?
With your cycle? Oh, you don't have a cycle. You had a
I
history.
don't have cycle.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but I notice when I take my Curcoplex 95, like I take 2 of them twice a day, after lunch and after dinner, because I'm scared to take it in empty stomach because my stomach is already, not doing good. So even in those first 2 days that my stomach was really bad with the heartburn, I tried to avoid some of the supplements too, because I was scared to take them to feel even worse. And then now I'm back to all of them. Yeah, but that Curcoplex 95, I feel when I take after lunch, I'm like getting the relief of pain.
Good.
It's like all my body hurts, it's like, when is gonna stop this? Yeah.
So are you still going for the therapy at the place that you got the stem cells from?
Yeah, I am doing that. I don't know, I feel sometimes I don't notice anything, but I still have like 8 sessions left to do it, to finish it. And my nephew comes and does the physical therapy for my arm. Now I'm like down to once a week. It's I don't know. I did see the difference. Like my arm, I can get up now. I used to not sit down. Now I can. And I got the brace for my wrist. I went to I told you I'm going to acupuncture too. So I've been doing so many therapies like in one. So she's Chinese lady. She's really know everything. She's like, don't do the physical therapy, do the brace. Put the brace on your wrist. Yours is chronic pain. You need to be careful with that. So I bought the brace since yesterday. I did wear them and slept on, and I didn't feel much difference. But I'm gonna wear it at work.
I think that's a great idea. I think it's all about balance. I don't agree with strictly bracing, because if you don't use it, you lose it.
Lose it, yeah.
And so I get her saying, it's chronic, but you still have to move it. And honestly, any type of arthritic condition, it actually does better with movement. It hurts initially, and then the more you move it, the better it feels. So anyhow, but yeah, I totally agree. When you are doing like a lot of repetitive motion, especially with your hands, the brace will be a good stabilizer for you, you know, to help support it in an appropriate alignment. I think that that's a good idea.
Okay.
So a balance.
Yeah.
Life's about balance. But so let's bump the gastric for you.
Okay.
And to 2 with each meal. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that's good that the curcular plex is helping to reduce pain.
Yes,
And
it
then
does.
keep working on your shoulder. Keep your mindset focused on the good. You've come a long way. You have come a long way. But do also make sure that you're eating enough. I don't want you to lose any more weight.
No, I know. It's just I don't want it either, but I've been eating so clean, and you know, it's like maybe that's the reason, or maybe my body is back to normal. That's what I'm thinking. You know how the autoimmune is like when you get autoimmune disease, you gain weight, and that's what happened to me. And I'm like, I'm losing weight. That means I'm getting healthier.
So what I would recommend to do, so you don't, because you're at an ideal weight right now, I wouldn't lose any more. So just make sure that you're getting plenty of fat within your diet. Like that's one thing that I have to do on a regular basis. So like if I have a salad, I'll use like a lemon vinaigrette, but I always do like some good, like some walnuts on there, and avocado, and a drizzle of organic extra virgin olive oil to give me that good source of fat. So that way I know that my body is getting enough caloric intake to burn and to utilize. So just make sure that you're getting those good healthy fats that will help you to be able to maintain your weight.
Okay. All right. And then this week, Friday, I'm going to California again.
Yay, that was good for your soul last time. Good.
Yeah, and for 10 days this time. And I was wondering, there's going to be days that like I'm going to be really busy. My daughter is getting engaged. So, yeah. So I was thinking if I skip the supplements, is that going to be okay? Or I don't know how it's going to be my, you know.
Try not. There will try not to. They're going to be now. Just reduce your. So just try to hit your morning and your evening dose, and then if in the middle of the day, if you're out running around, don't worry about that. So just set yourself up for success and try to, you know, keep them on you or something like that. But I would do your morning and your evening at a minimum. What's going to happen is stress is going to be a little bit higher, so that's going to play more of a role in digestion. You're traveling, you know, there are so many healthy places to eat, but still you're going to be, you know, probably doing a little bit more of that. I would say try to keep the constants or the controllables that you can control constant, so then that way there's not like the other variability doesn't have an influence in symptoms. But you're going to be happier, you're going to be with your daughter, it'll be, you know, so there'll be lots of laughter and oxytocin release and things to that nature. Okay. Keep up the good work, Katrin. Let's just focus on the gastracid, that change for now, and then just make sure that you keep, you know, mindset positive, and you've come a long way. You are off of biologics and immunosuppressants. That's kind of huge. So, and your pain is not, while it's there, you're still moving, you're still, you know, doing all those things. You're going to feel it more because it's not completely suppressed. So just keep working through it and feeling strong and keep moving forward. Okay?
Okay. I will. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Miss Laura, you want to jump in there?
I can jump in because I have a meeting at 1:30. So.
Okay, perfect. Good news. I have your labs back. 2 of them just came in today. Yeah, so
That makes me happy.
yes. Okay, so let's talk about, so Heidi took my Wednesday slot. So Thursday, what does your Thursday look like? What time zone are you? Remind me.
I'm in Eastern, same as you.
Okay. And then, so what time on Thursday?
I can make.
I can't do the morning.
Me either.
Okay, good. My son, I can do anything from lunch, lunch on. I can do
I'm good from 12 on, except I do have a half an hour meeting from 2 to 2:30.
Let's do 12 o'clock. That works perfect for me.
Okay.
Yay.
Sweet.
Yes. That's always my favorite day for all of you. How have you been? How are you feeling?
Honestly, about the same as
Okay.
last. Not really. I mean, my inflammation, it just depends on the hour of the day. Sometimes it goes back up, and it's not going up as high as it was, so that's good, but it's still not gone. So it's okay. Yeah. I wish I was more positive about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, though, do celebrate that because
I am.
Yeah, so celebrate.
Like I can get my gym shoes on without having to keep opening up laces, so that's good.
Yeah, yeah, I know it's hard. Pain's a real challenging thing because when you have it, it's irritating regardless of the intensity it is, and then you forget how intense it is as it eases. So it's real hard to go back to that starting point and to look back and reflect because you're living it every single day.
Yep.
It's like watching someone grow, it just, you don't recognize the change. So anyhow, but do celebrate any success. So if it's not going up as high and as intense, that's how the healing process starts. And that's great. So the rest of it, you had already done so many of the changes beforehand. And so sometimes when you've already made such drastic changes with your diet, the accelerated healing comes after the fact. It comes when we find out the underlying root cause and we really start to target that very specifically. So
okay.
Mood wise, you doing okay, like with work and stress and?
Yeah, had a very stressful weekend. Had to take my mom to the ER and she was admitted and all this kind of stuff. So that made for a very stressful Saturday and Sunday, but I tried to, every time I kind of felt myself going over the edge, especially with her, because she can be I love my mother, but she can be very trying. She hates doctors and hospitals, and she is the meanest patient on the planet. She is the nicest woman. If you ran into her in the grocery store, she's an 82-year-old lady, nice, 4'8", 90-pound person, she's your typical grandmother in that case, but and she is wonderful. You put her in a hospital setting and she is a snake. Love her to death, but
isn't it funny? Because I mean, that's exactly how my grandmother was as well. Exactly.
So I found myself, and you can only have one person in there at a time. So I had no buffer with my brothers to help out. It was like me and her. They were calling and texting, but it's no buffer sometimes. So it was very trying, and I found myself doing my deep breathing exercises very frequently.
Good.
Trying to keep it calm. So it was okay. It was stressful, but I think altogether I kept it together pretty well. So that was good. And she's back home now. Still has a few issues, but she's home. So that's good.
Good.
But yeah, trying to do my deep breathing whenever I feel my nerves starting to rattle or get to me. So
good. That's perfect. So has sleep gotten better for you? I know that was kind of like an unusual struggle.
Yeah, it was really weird. And maybe it was because that was that first week I was doing all the supplements, and maybe my body was like, hey, what's going on?
It actually, that's a very good, that really could be the case, because again, the liver usually kicks on at about 3 o'clock in the morning and starts to like process, and sometimes that can wake you up. So, just little things like that very well could have been your body adjusting. So that's good.
Yeah, but the last week's been much better. I mean, I'm falling asleep pretty much when I decide to fall asleep, I fall asleep, and pretty much staying asleep the bulk of the night. I mean, if I do wake up, I fall back asleep in 30 seconds or a minute, which is my old pattern. So I'm glad that's back.
Good.
So,
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Looking forward to Thursday.
Yes. So I've got you down for 12 on Thursday, and I will be working on your plan, and we'll take it from there.
Awesome.
Very good.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Right.
I'm
All
going
right.
on mute. Let somebody else in.
Okay. Sounds good.
Bye.
Have a good week. Hey, Trina.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
You look like you're outside. Are you on vacation?
No, I'm just back on the back porch. My husband is still sleeping. Don't ask. So I was like, I'll just come out here. It's nice out here. It's hot, but I love heat. So
Yeah.
So I'm enjoying this weather lately. So yeah.
Awesome. How are you doing?
I'm doing so great. It's
Yay!
so awesome. I'm like so happy I could probably cry. Like 180 probably from the last time I cried.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Like my knee's getting so much stronger, so I can do more. And with the histamine, it's it's not getting the water on the knee like it was, so I can increase the range of motion, and the physical therapy. Really, I'm able to do that, and my energy level is just great. So I've been able to start increasing my intensity of my exercise, and just little by little, I'm trying to take it easy. My knee's still letting me know when I need to relax and stop and just calm down.
And that's where you start to, this is what I would, if you were my physical therapy patient, this is what I would tell you. This is where you start to develop a loving relationship, because it's your only way for your knee to communicate with you. And so you just begin to love that it is able and capable of communicating your limitations, rather than it being a negative when that pain pops in. You know what I'm saying? So I think that that's where, and again, it's just all about mindset and the way that you look at it. Like, thank you for letting me know that, we did a good job today, but that's enough. And, and so just to really begin to develop that is honestly the best way to continue to make it stronger, but without pushing it into that chronic inflammatory state.
Right. Yeah, it's it still gets a little frustrating, but that does me no good, right? So it's more like, hey, knee, we did great, thank you, that kind of thing. And if it's a bad day, then it's like, it's okay, I'll do better and I'll treat you nicer tomorrow, I promise. So there's always these little, I started talking to it. I mean, I guess I've always talked to it, but it's just more positive and just, like you said, a loving relationship now, more so than it was before. So yeah, and I've had I found a new meditation on Insight Timer that I really like, that it helps with like dealing with fear or anxiety or pain, and just by putting just having you focus on gratitude, right? So just similar to the gratitude journal that that we do, but just really focusing on, okay, here's this issue that I have now, here's my 5 minutes of just images in my mind that just make me feel gratitude. And I mean, that was an incredible change. And then I'm also taking an emotional intelligence class
Mhm.
through work,
Oh,
and
wow.
the crossover between what I'm doing here and with that, you know, just kind of learning about yourself and how you interact emotionally. And 'cause, you know, I'd have some stressors at work, and it was all in my mind, and I knew it, but it was, I don't know, that class is really helping me. I don't know. You know that other people's negativity and response, like, you can't control it, but it still brings you down sometimes. And I don't know what it is. Like today or yesterday, in dealing with my two negative Nellies on my crew, I knew, you know, I was just like, whatever, I'm gonna let them do their thing. Maybe they just need to vent. That's
Mhm.
not me. That's not my thought. I don't have to be negative, but yet I can still let them be negative if they need to, and, you know,
Mhm.
protect me. So
Mhm.
I just felt like this last week has just been really amazing.
Mhm.
Going to the restroom, like, I think I told you at one time, I swear I cleared my descending and transverse colon. This today, I swear it was a little bit on the ascending colon too. I was like, dang.
Yes.
So it's like, it makes you
That's
wonder, like, when it doesn't do that, like, where
what
does
is
all
it?
that go?
Where does it go? That's right.
Does it
It continues
just
to dehydrate, and those are toxins that line the endothelial cells. So, of course, they make them really angry and inflamed, right?
yeah,
And you just
yeah,
have it compressing against your intestinal wall.
yeah,
And that's why elimination is so
yeah,
important.
yeah,
But yeah, that's exactly right.
yeah. So I guess the only, you know, I'm still waiting for my immune system to heal, and I'm being patient, I promise, even though it's not my nature, but I just know it's going to take time. And you know, and still haven't had a period, that kind of thing. So I know that there's still things, you know, on it, because I've been adding new foods in one at a time, and
Hmm.
I've been able to add some, but not others. And so still just kind of waiting there. I guess my one question would just be, you know, if you see what may be a response because you added in a food, but it's a mild response, like how do you know when, okay, this shouldn't be, like, I
Hmm.
shouldn't do this, right?
So,
Like, I now
that's
that
a
I'm kind of healing more, it's like I'm not quite sure, right? So, like, it was a little bit like my elimination day was, it wasn't as smooth, right? But is that
mhm.
just normal day-to-day variation, or is that maybe the optic lens that I'm trying? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's where, trying it for 3 days straight, and because it's a delayed, because what we're testing is a delayed response, it should get a little bit worse if that is the case with each day. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
It
Now,
does.
what I do is, again, if it's just a mild, then I'm going to try it again the next day, because it could just
Mhm.
be your body transitioning to that,
Yeah.
coming back in. So try it the next day, see what your response is. Try it the third day, see what yours, unless it's a strong reaction. If
Yeah.
it's a
Okay.
strong reaction, don't put your body through that 3 days in a row. A mild reaction, just make sure it's not just a transition.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, when I wasn't even reintroducing foods, I would see kind of a little bit of variation there. So it's like, well, I don't feel like I should be worried about this, but yeah, that makes sense. Just keep going, because it's not a strong.
Yeah.
If it is a response, it's not strong, and it's certainly not a problem because I've seen it before. It's just natural variation, I feel like. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so yeah, I'm doing so great, and I just can't
Great
thank you
job,
enough.
Trina.
And it's
You're
so.
doing the work. All the results are yours. You've been doing the work. You've been super honest with yourself, and I think that that's really important, is recognizing your role in it from a mindset perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
people, that's a hard, you've you've always thought the way that you've always thought, and so being able to recognize and shift that, sometimes there's a really, really hard thing for people to do, but you've taken full ownership of it. And so
Yeah.
I mean, it really goes, like, the gratitude. My husband and I were actually, the reason I kind of smiled when you said emotional intelligence, we were talking about emotional intelligence last night, and is that an innate skill, or is that a learned skill? And some people just seem to have it so naturally, and then other people have to literally work at it. And then there are other people that don't even realize that they should be working on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we were having
not even on the radar. Yeah.
that conversation about emotional intelligence and how important it is when you're navigating the world. And so anyhow, but I'm happy that you are starting to, put all of that together, because I'm a very sensitive person. So that means that I absorb other people's energy easier. I'm not an introvert. I can handle it. I'm actually an extrovert, and I enjoy other people's energy, but I have to be very careful that it's reciprocated in a relationship, so that I'm not giving off too much, and then I'm not absorbing too much from other people, and especially when it is negative. So anyhow, just somewhat put up your energy wall and just protect yourself, put your little bubble in. And it's okay to occasionally be like, to share your positivity with others. So, and just like little, but it's not your responsibility. So that's the difference there, is just trying to put a positive, because the last thing that you want to do is when you're working with a group of people and you do have two people that are negative, those two people can pull the whole group down, right?
Yeah.
Very easily. Very easily, just with that energy that so anyhow, I would just say that as the leader of the group, maybe like what we do, where we try to start with a positive, maybe you can bring some of that to your team. It may be awkward at first, but like, hey, I've been doing this class on emotional intelligence, and and one thing that I'd like for us to do is, I don't know if you all do team meetings or huddles, or get the game plan together. Let's all just take a moment and kind of celebrate one another, celebrate the day, celebrate what we want to accomplish today, whether it gets accomplished or not. And then maybe that way you can start it with a positive. And I mean,
yeah. And I've tried to, just when they start kind of doing their thing, just, I just throw in like just a small positive, but but, I don't know, it kind of, I see what you're saying, but, things like that, and not be like an overwhelmingly like Pollyanna,
absolutely.
I think that just annoys that type of person. So,
it does.
but I think I'm much better prepared to, because how I was dealing with it before was just not having my team meetings, and just interacting with these groups one-on-one, but they all do need that chance to come together, and it's just using COVID as my excuse. Oh, COVID. But we have Google Meets now, and so I think I'm ready to start dealing with them in the group again. And so, I think those are great ideas that I can start using.
I would definitely, I love, like, let's lead with a positive, and then let's talk about what's maybe not working.
Right.
And let's come together on that. You know what I mean? So then that way it's just like, let's all get it out on the table.
Yeah. For sure.
I think would be a really great way to handle that, because that will, I mean, it does influence you. It influences your stress. It influences, it influences a lot of things. And we don't always get to choose our colleagues. So that's the hard part is, but you can certainly try to drive the energy of the group more positive.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, Ms. Trina, you're doing awesome. I'm so proud.
Thanks.
So keep it up. Keep it up.
I will do that.
All right, Miss Grace, you are last up.
Hey there, can you hear me?
Han, how are you? Dizzy still?
Okay. What's that? Sorry, I'm in the car.
Oh, that's okay. I said, are you dizzy still?
You know, today is the best day I've had since when it started last Wednesday. You know, it's kind of evolved from like the first day was like really, really dizzy. And then, you know, the second day, third day, fourth day sort of transitioned to just like, I wasn't actually having a dizzy episode, but I was just very woozy. Like I couldn't, you know, I didn't turn quickly. I didn't do anything quickly. And I felt very still like, you know, that sort of feeling like you're not sure where you're rooted in space. Like I'm just wasn't quite, you know, feeling strange. Anyway, Sunday was the first day I felt like I would try, you know, driving because I wasn't dizzy anymore. I just felt still kind of nauseous and icky. So I did drive Sunday, and then yesterday was a little bit better. But I'm still having like, honestly, I would just, it's almost evolved now that it's less about the woozy and it's more just like kind of cognitive again. Like yesterday I was just really struggling to focus at work. I'm just like focused and concentration. I just was like, my head just feels so off. It's the only way I can really describe it.
Like major brain fog?
Yeah, it's almost not, it's hard to, I mean, I don't even think it, I guess brain fog is the closest way I can describe it, although I feel like when I used to have brain fog years ago, it was a different feeling than this, but this is almost just like, it's like a vacuous feeling, like it's just like there's nothing going, just like nothing happening, it's just empty. I feel very like empty-headed is the word that comes to mind, like I just can't, my eyes almost can't focus. I'm just like off in space somewhere, just like, you know, so, and I'm tired. Like it's just, so I was, you know, able to work some, I go to a meeting, I suck it up, I make myself focus. I'm exhausted from the effort of it. And like, so, you know, yesterday I think I had a couple meetings in the morning and then I like for 3 or 4 hours literally just rested and did nothing. And then I was able to get on a couple more meetings in the afternoon. So it's been challenging. Today was, you know, is better. I thank God because I had to take my mom to an appointment. Just I couldn't reschedule easily. So I was going to have to if I was busy, but I was able to take her on my way home now. And I feel like today is the best functioning my brain has had in about a week. Not back to where it was before the episode, but, you know, it's much more functional today. So it's just been like, yeah, it started busy and then it just got more just like, yeah, brain something, fatigue, brain like off, I guess. I don't know how to describe it.
And it happened at night when you were sleeping. That was the onset, correct?
Yeah, that was. I woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and just like sat up dizzy, just like, whoa, what is happening? And then I, you know, was able to just get sitting up and then it stopped. But that first like 24, maybe 36 hours, it was like a positional thing. Like if I laid down completely flat, the room would start spinning. Or, you know, I could lay down like on a pillow, a couple pillows, it was okay. But if I went flat, it wasn't. And then like on the right side, it was worse. But after like the first day and a half or 2 days, that stopped. And it was just like, you know, it was like a leftover. It almost felt motion sick, you know?
That is the brain accommodating. I wish that if you were in my area, I mean, that's something, I wish I could have had my hands on you the first happened, because we would have really good understanding. It still, I know that the test that I sent you, they didn't elicit a response, but again, you're doing them on yourself without really knowing fully and understanding fully the vestibular system. So that's only a small little piece of a vestibular evaluation, and like speed matters and different things like that, but it was the best that I could do to try to get you something. But you will have those for next time. Now, so I've got just a few other questions that I wanted to ask. So when you woke up, like you open your eyes, you were already dizzy before you sat up, correct?
Yeah, I was dizzy laying down.
Okay. And you don't recall like rolling over and that ignited the dizziness and then you sat up?
I don't recall that. What I remember is that I was on my back sleeping and like all of a sudden just woke up feeling dizzy and was like the room was spinning and then I sat up, just that like it was just a reaction. I just sat straight up and just kind of put my hands down on the bed to like try to stabilize
Balance,
myself. And
yeah.
I was like, okay, it stopped. But I was like, what the heck was that?
Okay. Yeah, it sounds so much like BPPV. It honestly does, but it also sounds to me, with the trigeminal nerve, like, I don't know, the issues that you've had with cranial nerves, it does seem like that is a piece of this. So whether it's a true BPPV or not, it could still be kind of an influence. Again, you had yeast, so that byproduct is a neuroendotoxin where it hits that cranial nerve going to the vestibular system.
Okay.
So those are kind of the two different thoughts that I have going on in my mind. I'm glad that this is clearing up now. So my other questions for you are, what happened with trigeminal nerve when all of this was going on? Did you feel it more? Did you feel it less? Or was it the same?
I feel like I felt it more. It has been acting up lately, like probably the week prior to this. I mean, we've just had such a heat wave here. It's been crazy. And I was at acupuncture like a week before this for a treatment. And I told her, like, this neuralgia seems to be worse. Not like horrifically worse, but just I'm noticing it a lot more. And she told me that like several of her clients who have it have reported the same thing. And she thought the heat was triggering it. So that was like just in the back of my mind, like, oh, maybe that's why. But then after the dizzy, I felt like I was very aware of it also. Like on Sunday especially, I just remember when I was like just resting a good part of the day and I was like, damn, my face is just like, it's tight. It's hard to describe it. It's not exactly pain, but it's like, yeah, I felt like it was worse for sure.
Yeah, and so that kind of goes more along the lines of this just being part of that kind of an inflammatory process that's targeting your cranial nerves.
Okay.
Yeah. So so what are we going to do about this? Well, one other question is, what have your bowel movements been like? What's your gut like? What's going on there?
I haven't noticed anything really different recently. I usually will have bowel movements in the morning, like, sometimes 2, sometimes 3. I mean, that's usually when usually that's my good state. I get up in the morning, within an hour, I've gone at least once. Sometimes over the course of the first 2 or 3 hours of the day, I'll have multiple bowel movements. They've been pretty good in terms of just like soft, in terms of texture and stuff. I feel like it's been better since I started that butyrate. I think before that, I would notice more variability, like occasional constipation, not even bad. I mean, just like noticed it, more than typical, or occasional. I mean, I guess now maybe just the occasional looser stool, but it's like there's less. It seems more consistently good now in the last couple of weeks or whatever time it's been, maybe 2 or 3 weeks since I started taking that.
Good. Okay. All right. Okay. So you have a binder at home, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's the activated charcoal, the organic?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I have.
I want you to start taking that.
Yeah, I've been taking it since, I think maybe it was Saturday night. I forget when you had texted me about it, but maybe it's been 2 nights. It's been 2 nights or 3 nights, I forget. But I've taken it, I think maybe 2. The last couple nights I've been taking it, just right at bedtime.
Perfect. I want to keep doing that, and I want to do it consistently.
Okay.
Okay. So let's try to get back on, because are you back on your supplements now? I know you weren't feeling. Have you started?
No, I mean, I've been dipping my toe in, to be honest. I mean, you know me, you know how I am. So what honestly was just making me panicky about it was just the idea, like, if this is die off and I'm doing, it's great that I'm killing stuff off, but like, I just couldn't handle the dizzy. So I just wanted to wait to go full board till like we had a chance to really talk about it, because it, you know, it's sort of like, I don't understand the whole, you know, it's like, I need to kill the yeast, but is it, you know, is it the yeast that's giving me these things that are making me crazy, or is it the die off? And it's like, I need you to talk me through it, because I've just been afraid to to go back to either the probiotics or the candicidal. So I've been like, you know, I've taken some D, I've taken the B, I've taken, you know, I kind of look in there with, and I, you know, and I don't want to go back to that place, but I just needed to talk it through with you, so I can feel confident going back.
Yep. Let's you know, do what you feel comfortable with. So add back in. I don't think whatsoever. It is not coming from the supplements. So that's the good news. At first, when I read that, I was like, she started the Adrenalive and it's back. And that I would be like, yep, let's pull it again, you know?
Okay.
You've consistently been on these things. And
yeah.
So the fact that you were feeling the trigeminal nerve a little bit more, you know, again, those are right there, super close to one another. So let's do the organic activated charcoal every night.
Yeah.
Before bed. And, you know, you can decide at what point you want, you know, how you want to add things back in. You can just go all for one, just throw it all back in and start taking them again. I don't think that that'll have any type of influence on you. You know, it may give you a little, if you've been off of it for several days, it may make you feel a little queasy, but it shouldn't influence your dizziness.
Okay.
Start the candicidal back slower if you're more comfortable with that. But regardless, what I want you to do is I want you to get on all the supplements, back on all the supplements with your organic activated charcoal. And then after your symptoms have subsided and you're feeling good, then I want to add in the Adrenalive.
Okay. Okay.
Right. I do think based on what you're telling me, it definitely sounds, it definitely sounded like it was more a positional issue versus a straight like Meniere's, you know, because that would have been constant, whereas yours was changing with position.
Yeah.
So that's more of a canalicysis rather than, but then the lingering, I think, is your brain accommodating back and trying to reestablish that normal input from each of the canals.
Okay. All right. So you think it will continue to just resolve
fully? Mm-hmm. If you weren't able, and it's okay to keep checking those 2 tests that I showed you.
Okay.
I would do that like once a day. Do those 2 tests and just make sure, because what your brain, like, so the way that one of the tests that they did on, research that they did on college kids is that they put glasses on them that made them see upside down.
Oh God.
And at first, right, and at first they're falling all over the place. They can't see where they're going. And after 48 hours, they could see perfect.
Oh,
because
wow.
the brain accommodates to any discrepancies. My. And so that's the thing that we want to make sure doesn't happen for you, that it's like it goes if you do have a PVC, see you, Michelle, have a good day. If you do have one, then so one side sends a signal to the brain, the other side sends a signal to the brain. Those 2 sides should match up. And when they don't, then eventually when they don't match up, then your brain says, okay, well, a -2 from this year equals a 1 from the other ear.
Yeah.
It just makes that adjustment. And then all of a sudden things get better, you're not as dizzy, but you're still not fully healed because a -2 does not equal a +1.
Yeah.
That discrepancy coming in there.
Okay.
Does really, really sound like BPPV to me. Again, I really think that we got to keep going on this, and it was just like one of those. And so the two things that will bring on a spell of vertigo is the number one reason is dehydration, and the number two reason is a fall or a jolt to the head.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I can't say that I had a fall, but it's totally possible that I was dehydrated. I mean, that's not, I do try to hydrate, but it's been hotter than hell here. So I'm sure I probably was dehydrated.
Okay. All right. So push your fluids over the few days. Start consistently continue the activated charcoal. And then let's work back in. The only ones that you need to be like, that is you're doing biocidin, right?
Yeah.
And the candicidal. So maybe add them all back in and let that come in on a different day.
Okay. That makes sense. I can do that.
And then after
candicidal biocidin. Okay.
And then after that, after a few days and you feel like your brain is back to functioning, then we're going to add the Adrenalin.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds like a plan. I can do it.
Keep me updated.
I will. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You as well. All right, everyone. It was a great call. I did forget to record the first part of it, but I did record the second half of it. So anyhow, I will upload that recording, and you all have a great week. I'll be in touch with the ones of you that I said that I was anything and let you know.
You have a great week too.
All right. Yeah.